doing today? It's another episode of Real Estate Jerky Live. I'm here with Francisco. God, you'd think I would know your name by now.
No. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. It seems like since the last week, and I've been talking to so many people, it's about buyers and getting them understanding where we are with this market. I don't know if that's what you're hearing. I've been hearing buyers are worried. People are listing properties and they have 7 showings and one person writes an offer and they get it. I think we talked about this last time. It's a great opportunity right now for buyers to get out there and get the house they want.
Yes, no, definitely. It's been, recently too, as I've been helping buyers, we're not in that state where, it's a 10, 15, 20 offers. Now we're starting to see, something more normal, right? Like a lot slower, 3 offers, 4 offers. It's not as crazy, ridiculous as well as people are offering, 20 to 50,000 over and stuff like that. That's not really the norm anymore. Obviously depending on, listing prices and everything too. But realistically right now it's slowed down and it's opened up opportunities for buyers.
Right. And let's not say slowed down. What it's done is made it more realistic.
Right.
And I think a lot of buyers are like, oh, interest rates are up and I can't do this. And I'm going to add a little thing in here because I want to go over it. What a lot of people don't realize is, yes, we had really low interest rates. And we went up 2% over the last 45, 60 days. And that's the other thing people don't realize. But historically, our rates are some of the lowest rates we've ever had. I'm going to bring up a chart I wanted to bring in. Let's see if I have it. There we go. Let me go over here so I make sure. But so is that, let me see if I can get that a little bit bigger. Anyway, I can't. Anyway, so I don't want to mess it up. But this is where we are today right here, 5.30. All right. So that doesn't look like it's so bad historically compared to where rates used to be. This is since 1971. Another person I know had this on their website or their Facebook page. But see, we were down in here because we were in a pandemic. We were in such a horrible place. That's why rates dropped. But people think that's the norm now. That's not the norm. This is kind of where the norm is. So even though we're getting used to the rates, and some people don't qualify anymore as much as they used to, it's just understanding where we are with the market.
Right. Yeah, no, and that is a big thing that I do touch up on a lot as well. These houses and everything, granted, even with the prices going up, these interest rates are where it's keeping us, safe and afloat.
Right.
And, a lot of these buyers don't realize, like we've been trying to express that, yes, this is a moment of opportunity right now where there's this kind of panic, I guess, if you will, with some of these buyers that it's holding people back and you're not seeing as much competition out there.
And here's the reason why. The media talks about it all the time. I put together a little bit of little notes here that I want to bring up. But the media is saying household formations are lagging and that, it could be an oversupply situation in inventory. Well, I took some information from, and I'm going to hit that mortgage back, MBS Highway. They always put out great information. I took some of their stuff. And if you look at where we were, and I'm going to bring a chart in and then I'll explain it more. Okay. Sorry. It's all about charts today. All right. So this is the housing, the things that came out, the permits, starts, and completions. Permits, starts, and completions, right? This is the numbers I'm going to be working off of. Okay. Everybody see that? Now I'm going to get rid of that chart. So I have multiple screens and it's a little difficult. All right. So if you look at if you go back to that chart, it says there's 1.4 million households formed in March. That's a lot of households, right? And then there was 1.7 million total starts of new homes. Okay. And then what a lot of people don't realize is during this process, we lose 100,000 homes are destroyed due to aging or replacement each year. So that's that's annualized rate that we're talking about. All right. So if you take those two, so that means we have everybody follow me here? 1.6 million homes created on an annualized base. All right. So if you use that number and then you subtract the 1.4 household formation. So that's what's important. All right. So we had 1.4 million households created. We only have 1.6 million homes being made. You take the difference, that's 200,000 that are actually going to go towards our undersupply. Why is this important? Do you understand? So Freddie Mac is saying there's about 3.8 million homes that were undersupplied to make demand. At 200,000 additional homes a year, it's going to take 19 years to get caught up.
Right. Yeah, and with that too, it's kind of, it does overstate as well. As we go through and see all these houses and everything that are being built, and not only that, but then we also talk about, granted there are those big companies out there buying up properties, but there's still a lot of movement in California in itself already. How things are. There's always people leaving here. There's people coming in. California is one of those places too. I've always said it, with schooling and everything as well. I mean, it's super big. So, there's a lot of movement as well. So
right.
Housing is always typically available.
Right. But what I'm getting at is the media is saying there's we're going to be a point where we're going to have an oversupply like 2008 and all that. And I'm just trying to explain it's not there. So if we were only 1 million homes short, right, undersupply, at the current pace, it would take 5 years to get caught up.
Yeah.
But we're not at that. We're at more than that. So you understand what I'm getting at with this? So a lot of people are thinking that you can't you just have to understand we're not in that situation that the media keeps throwing us at, that we're going to, not have enough homes built. Well, if you're not buying a house, you're going to rent a house. And what's happening is with rents, they keep going up. So you have two choices. You can either pay the mortgage for yourself or you can pay it for your landlord. It's your choice.
Right. And that is something that I do touch up on a lot as well with buyers, is that, when people aren't going through that route of making that full on decision of whether they want to go ahead and, make that commitment, a lot of people are waiting for that moment. But as we said, what's certain is that rental rates will keep going up. And that's one of the things that if you don't get into a house right now, your purchase power will kind of keep diminishing. A lot of the times people wait for that moment, like in stocks and everything, and it's just very hard to predict that.
Yeah, and it's just better to go ahead and look at your situation. It's a thing. I'll get it out someday. Things that we keep talking about is the best time to buy is today, because one, interest rates, and where the current market is. We have no idea where it's going to be tomorrow, or what I'm hearing is October, November, we're going to start seeing things change rate wise down, but that's not a guaranteed. But don't wait till October or November for that to happen, because I said that and everybody else is saying that, because guess what? Then everybody's going to be back in the game, and you're going to be fighting again for all these houses, for these limited houses, and writing over instead of getting it now when other people are scared.
Right.
Be the Berkshire Hathaway guy, what's his name, Warren, I lost this, I want to say Beatty, but it's not. Warren Buffett. He buys things when nobody else wants it and sells things when everybody else wants it.
Yeah. And, and that is another thing too, where I do always forewarn everybody, the people that are waiting for those moments as well are, a lot of these people that have a ton of money that have been waiting for long times regardless. Right. So it's like we said, from what we see out there and just the way that, the market's been moving right now, it's a much more, you have much more opportunities from what I've been seeing.
You do. I mean, it's a huge amount of opportunities that you have out there, and people don't realize that. They just have to look. A lot of people, I've had clients who actually were like, well, I have two choices. I can go rent in the Bay Area for $3,500 or $4,000, or I could buy for $3,900. So, so you just have to look at everybody's situation is different. Some people are right now can't get, they're out of the market, and there's nothing we can do for them unless they make more money or get a better job. And I'm not trying to be rude about that. I'm just saying, if you're in your situation and this doesn't work for you today, focus on getting what you need so you can get the house. And people are like, why do you care so much? The only way for most people to build personal wealth is through home ownership. They don't save enough in their 401k, 403b, or IRAs to offset their life and change generational wealth for their family, which you can through real estate.
Right. I try to preach that a lot as well. I just had this conversation with the client the other day where I was just kind of coaching him. We were looking at a house out here in Oakdale, actually, and he just, as he was talking about it, he was like, well, I could purchase this house and probably in a year or two, sell it and, make a good amount. And I said, well, you're right. You probably could, but, hold on to it. The way that, we see it, and again, like we said, the rental rates are just going to keep going up. As soon as you can start building that portfolio and start having properties, under your belt where you could be collecting passive income, every month. And right now, the way it is, I mean, for him, for example, even if he were to be renting out 2 of the 3 rooms, he's going to be pretty near to already just paying off his mortgage, and having a mortgage, where you're living with some other people, some people do that, or, even if you just rent the whole thing out, you're probably going to be, positive, having positive cash flow, or if not, you're paying your house off.
Right. And we're talking about a couple different things here. I'm talking about an family buying a house and having a house for long term. You're also talking about buying a house and then being able to turn that into an investment going forward, so you can buy additional real estate, so you eventually have a lot of passive income. So when you retire, you have passive income, which a lot of people, they're like, let me get my first one first, right? Because they already have the family. Now, if you're buying real estate before you have your family, that is perfect. I mean, there's so many things you can do: buy units, live in one of them and rent out the other 2, or just like you said, buy the house, you got the 1 room and rent out the other 2. There's many ways you can do it. But it's just about getting real estate and not worrying about where the market is right now and being scared of the market. Yes, it changed. It's still the same market. The only difference is people want it, 30% still buying with cash, and the other people are buying with loans. And the people who are buying right now are the ones who are going, okay, I need to get a house. I can either buy a house or I can rent. I know every year 5% of my rent is going to go up by 5%. If I get a mortgage now, I know my rate won't go up, but potentially I can refinance it in 6 months to a year to a year and a half whenever the rates go back the other way.
Okay. Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to get out there. Don't worry about where the market is. You need to do what's best for you. So look at that. Talk to somebody who's educated about the market. Talk to somebody who understands real estate and the interest rates and the mortgages like that. Get a hold of somebody who knows, reach out to them, and they can walk you through the process.
Right. And it's just, a lot of the times, just how you said it, sometimes people, don't even think that they're ready, and that scares them itself, just that thought that they think, I'm not ready. And, I've told a lot of people, even, some people who are just even a little shy of, their down payment or their closing costs or whatever they need. We have a ton of different programs for, people who are struggling a bit on that end. And, by all means, I mean, I always tell everybody it's possible, as long as you're out there and, you're doing everything you can to be at the forefront, when these houses go up for sale, and, you're offering and being aggressive and, just being out there as much as you can, you'll get into something eventually. It might be a little bit tougher if you're, struggling with some of those other things, but it's possible. Right. And,
it's about planning, getting ready, reach out because sometimes people ask, when should I recontact you? The moment you're thinking about it, so we can put a plan together for you to be able to purchase. And I've had plans for people who have had credit issues for 2 years with them. So it's possible it could take a while, but we can get you in over time. Don't rush because, market's going up by 20% this year. You have to do what's best for you, and we need to find that plan. So reach out so we can plan that for you. Reach out to Francisco or myself, and we will get you started on that process. Anything else you want to say before we go?
No, I think, we touched up well on, everything that's been going on. And just, once again, our big advice is don't be discouraged. The market is, it's always changing. It's always changing. And, don't be worried about the general market. Worry about the market within, your life, if you will.
Right. Just focus on what you can handle, what you control, you and where you work and that kind of stuff. Don't worry about what's going on elsewhere. All right. All right. So thanks everybody for watching. And if you're watching afterwards, let us know, subscribe, and we will talk to you next week or tomorrow or the next day, one of those days.